Good. Our next step is going to be putting foil on the glass. Now, there's some things I'd like to tell you about foil and give you a tip about how to use it. First of all, you've got to decide which kind of foil you're going to use. And camera girl, if you'll swing down here, I'll show you the foil that I have. As you can see, there's some that's got a black backing to it. The stuff I told you to buy was the silver backed. And I believe I have some plain copper back. Now these are the three that are most used. This copper back actually sticks to the glass better than the other two, but you only use it if you're either going to use a copper patina or you use it on glass that you can't see through, although it lets light through. Silverback is the one I use the most of because most of my projects are just polished the solder silver. So whether the glass you can see through it or not, I use the silverback. If you are going to put a black patina on it, and the stuff that you can see through, you're going to need to use black backed foil. I also have a roll here. This is also silverback, but it's just a little bit wider than the 7/32 inch what I had you get. And the reason I have wider is some pieces of glass are a little thicker. Anyway, let's go ahead and show you how to use this. The tools that you'll need is your foil. You can either just unwrap it and set it on the table, or if you're like me, I bought this little dispenser. It makes it just a little more handy for me. You'll need scissors, your X-Acto knife, and this piece of plastic that's called a fid. Okay, what we'll do is you take a piece of glass and pull out some foil, and this is why you have a practice piece, so you can practice doing this. I like to take the foil and right here on this crease in my finger, run the foil right there, and I'll start close to an edge, and I'll look down that glass with kind of like an eyeball on each side of it, looking down, not focusing on the glass, but focusing my eyes on the foil, and try to get that in the center. And to get it in the center, you look on each side and you see if it's sticking out the same on each side. And then I'll start by creasing it there, and then I'll do my next edge the same. I'll run it along that crease in my finger and try and keep that right in the center. And then, like doing a hospital corner, you fold that down over the other one, follow it, you able to see that good, camera girl? You can speak. Crease it, kind of work it down there. Now this might take a few tries before you get it right, and see, even I didn't get it quite there on that edge, so you can usually take a couple of shots at it, and after that you'll have to start over. See if we did it that time. Now you want to have a little bit up here catching on that edge. Do the same on the next one. Okay, now you're coming up to where you started. Now you go take the foil just past the edge where I began. Make sure it's all centered like you like it. Push it down there. Take your scissors or your X-Acto knife. Cut that just below that edge. Go ahead and fold it all down, and you'll see that it looks like a nice edge on that piece of glass. Okay, now you're not done. This is the part that my granddaughter loves to do. She calls it bread and butter and peel the potato. So first we're going to butter the bread. You take your fid and press it down on that foil and kind of pull that foil back and towards the center. But you press it down at the same time. Don't pull it away from the glass. Push it into it. Get it down smooth. Flip it over and butter the other side. Okay, that's the bread and butter part. Now you got to peel the potato. So you take and run it all around the edge, like so. That just helps it stick really good. Now that piece is pretty good. Sometimes you'll get here where you started and you'll find that there's a bit of a edge out here. I'm going to goof up the next one on purpose just to show you, but you can actually trim the bad spots with your X-Acto knife. Anyway, that piece is done. Let's do one of these other ones here. Okay. Okay, start kind of near a corner. Press it together. The reason I do that is so by the time I go around to my next edge, it's not going to pull off. Go around. You see how that's centered pretty good? Now there are tools that you can buy that apply foil a little bit easier, but I still much prefer just doing it with my hands. Okay, work it around that edge. Okay, now like I said, I'm going to see if I can mess this up on purpose here. So I can show you something. It's pretty bad when you have to mess things up on purpose. Okay. Go ahead and butter the bread. See these little wrinkles? You can press those down. It doesn't have to be perfectly smooth, but just press down so it's sticking really good. Most people like to work towards them and a little bit towards the inside. Okay, now we'll peel the potato. Once you get the hang of this, you can do quite a bit pretty quick. I've taken this piece of glass and messed it up on purpose to demonstrate 4 problems you might have while foiling and how to fix them. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll put it close. You can see this corner isn't quite folded the way I would like it. You can also see there's a gap here on this curve, and you can see that as the foil was done, it kind of overlapped and missed, matching up to the other edge, and you can see that it's a little too wide through here. Now granted that with a piece of glass you'd probably only have maybe one of these problems to fix, and sometimes on a smaller piece you would just want to take all the foil off and start over. But if this was a big piece of glass and it only had maybe one of these problems, you wouldn't want to do that and waste all that foil. So I'm going to show you how to fix each of these. First we'll start with this little corner. Usually all it is the foil didn't quite fold the way you want it, so you just take your thumbnail and just kind of pull it over where you want it, and then again take your fid and work it back out. It doesn't have to be perfect, just close, because the solder will cover some. Now foil doesn't stretch the way that you think it would, and usually on an inside curve you might get the foil to split. This is exaggerated, but to fix something like that, rather than peel it off and do the whole thing, just take a small piece of foil, like so, and then just put it over. Work it on with your fid, and then take your X-Acto knife and then trim it. Okay, so we fixed that split without having to waste a whole bunch of foil. Now on your corners that don't quite match up, it's the same thing. Just take your X-Acto knife and kind of match it up, because the solder will follow that foil when you put it down. So you know, you can clean it up and make it look a little better. Also, the other fourth thing is, if you have too much foil and you want to trim some of it off, just kind of take it as accurately as you can. Taking like drawing with a pencil, draw a line through that foil, and then just peel it off. Okay, the last thing that we need to fix on this piece of foil is this edge here. Say you're foiling along and you didn't quite catch the one edge like you wanted it to. And again, if this was a big piece of glass, you're not going to want to start over. So you want to just foil this edge. And what you do is you would want to start just around the corner, maybe about here, and foil it all the way across and maybe end up about here. So I'm going to try and do this. It's a little bit backwards for me. I'll try to do it so that you can see what I'm doing without getting this right out of the frame here. Yeah, that's kind of hard to do backwards. I've got to teach the other side of my brain what to do. And we'll go across here, but you can still see that. Push it on, and then trim it so you just pass that edge, fold it over. And again, it's just like you just started foiling it. Just kind of push it on there, push it down where you need it to go, and take the fid to it and put it on there. Peel a potato, and you'll probably have some more trimming to do, so we'll just go ahead and take your X-Acto knife and trim that corner there that looks like it's bad. Flip it over. There's a bad corner there. Trim it up. Good as new. Another spot there I'm going to hit. Because remember, the solder is going to follow the foil, and that's what you're going to want to keep in mind. Okay. All repaired.